What's up, guys? It's Sonose. We just saw UFC 302, and I figured we go over the event, at least the things I went through with the card. So, first thing I just wanted to say is the event could have been a little bit more exciting. A lot more decisions than I would like. Two things I do want to mention before anything else. One, that referee involved with at least 2 to 3 of the fights, that was kind of Italian-looking, middle-aged looking motherfucker who was on the prelims mainly for a couple of the fights that could not call fouls, for God's sake. Who let the little go way too far. He needs to get fired. Never do an event ever again. I swear. Alright, well, we went through that one. So first thing first, we had Randy Brown versus De Santos. De Santos was doing pretty well in the beginning in the first round, in my opinion. I think he won that round for the most part. Unfortunately for him, Randy Brown started to turn up around round 2 to round 3, and he mixed it up well and did the right execution of the ground game and everything combined to win himself the fight. I don't have much comment about right now. I think he has a lot of options ahead of him. I would say maybe put him against Kevin Holland. I don't think these two would fight yet. And I know Kevin Holland kind of going between welterweight and middleweight, so it's kind of an iffy thing to where to put him. Do you give Randy Brown a ranking? I don't know per se, but I think Holland would not be a terrible choice in my opinion. The next fight we had was Nico Price versus Alex Morono. Now this fight was originally supposed to be on the prelims, and it kind of bumped up the Almeida Rovenot card. So them fighting on the main card was very interesting. Now Morono was kicking Nico Price's ass at first, in my opinion. I don't know. I had worries that he might not survive, but by the second round, I feel like Morono was starting to get tired, and even though they were kind of sluggish at times, I feel Nico had a little bit more mixture in his strikes, heavier hits too, and he was just overall causing so many problems for Morono that by the time of the third round, he looked like he was ready to give up. By the time he got on the ground and everything mixed up for it. So Nico Price did win. It does make me wonder about the whole fixed joke about him and Robbie Lawler, because this man turned up for this fight. Now, for who does he fight next? It's tricky because I do know for a fact that he has knocked out Randy Brown. You could also argue a point to give him Kevin Holland as well, because another guy, welterweight. I know it's kind of mixed. I'm going to keep saying his name, but when you have two different divisions he's fighting out of, you can make all the arguments in the world. Now, if you want to give Nico Price a little bit more chance ranking-wise, you can always... I guess Kevin Holland would be the best choice. Now, as for Holland, this man technically got some controversy from his win. It was a submission hold. He didn't tap, but here's the fun little things, people. There's a thing called technical submission, and by those rules, the referee, by their discretion, they think there's harm of going unconscious or getting injured, that they will call the fight. The referee overall is supposed to protect the fighters, and we see with Tim Sylvia versus Frank Mir back in the day, what happens when you don't stop it in time. You have an arm twisted in place and broken. But Holland's a weird place. Holland kind of got embarrassed in welterweight. He kind of got bumped down with the whole thing with Adam Frage. So if he goes back there, he has many options there. If he goes to middleweight, he could go for rankings for Fluffy Hernandez or Chris Curtis. I think you just keep turning up very fun fights. I mentioned Randy Brown, and I've mentioned Nico Price's options for the man. But really, he's a tricky one. He bounces around everywhere. I think he's definitely worthy of the top 15. I don't know if he's a top 10 fighter. He's definitely a top 15 fighter at least. But you give him somebody fun. Yeah, you could always give him Paul Craig at middleweight if you don't want to give him someone ranked. I don't think Paul Craig has a ranking right now. If you give him a welterweight, there are so many options, people, you can give him too. Welterweight's a very stacked division right now. But, hey, that's just my opinion. I don't have too much on that one. I do think... You know what? Never mind. So we're going to go to the co-main event. Oh, God, so much opinions. What can I say? Paulo Costa, you do not belong in the middleweight division. You haven't been the same since Izzy's knocked you out. I think you need to give your ranking a fight for someone like Michel Pereira or Caio Borrello. Two Brazilians who deserve your rank more. fight for your ranking and your job. You have just not been a good fighter lately, and you got exposed too horribly against Izzy, and you haven't been the same human being since. And it pains me to say that, but it's true. Now for Strickland, however, excellent game plan, jabbed in the depth, frustrated him with his defense, messed up his leg with a couple of check kicks, even went berserk in the 5th round at the end, trying to flying high kicks and knees and other weird stuff. He clearly gets the rematch against either Israel Adesanya or Duplessis. There's no, it's upset better. He deserves it. Cannonier's a very close one for next week. If he wins, you can make an argument for a rematch between those two as well if they want to sideline Strickland for some stupid reason. But I do think that's an option we can consider too. Which, actually, now we get to the main event. This was a very interesting one. But before we get to that, there's one point I want to make. There was a judge. His name was Dave Torelli. He was a terrible, terrible judge. He gave 4 out of 5 rounds to Paulo Costa, and I think that job should get investigated, potentially arrested, definitely fired. Because I don't know what the hell he was seeing that whole time. But it was very confusing to me. Now on to the main event. Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. Overall, I will say this. Bravo, Dustin Poirier. You stood your ground. You gave Islam a fight. First round, I was a little worried for you. You got grappled pretty easily, and it looked like you were going to get finished the same way as usual. But you stuck it around. Round 2, you mixed up a couple of defenses. You got a couple of hits in. I would make an argument you might have squeaked by a win for that round. Round 3, unfortunately, became a repeat of round 1. You took some nasty hits. I think you might have gotten an eye poke or slashed your eye from the gloves. Those new gloves do suck, by the way. So I think it's a good chance that all could have happened. But in the round 4, I will say this. Round 4 was an interesting one. I've seen the most takedowns I've ever seen stuffed against a Dagestani wrestler yet in that fight. I think he got a couple of blows in. I think the slicing elbow that hit the floor was perfect. It gashed him up. It messed him up. I don't think 10 seconds getting him on his back constitutes winning a round. So anyone who thinks that, you're retarded. Sorry. Just the truth. Now, round 5, I think it was 2-2, but apparently only Chris Lee judging agrees with me. The other 2 are drunk, but whatever. Regardless, though, as the fight was going in the 5th round, Dustin looked like he was having the momentum, he was doing well, but it was one critical error. The guy was facing a Dagestani wrestler named Islam Makhachev. So Islam doing what Islam does best. He got him to the ground at some point during the exchange, and then he snapped up a nasty dart stroke, and he finished Dustin Poirier. Now he wants to face someone at 170, Leon Edwards or Bilal Muhammad. Personally, either one that faces Islam, I think loses. I would argue Leon might have a better chance because he's more well-rounded, whereas Bilal isn't. But hey, that's what we got for now. It's not the most exciting synopsis for the card, but it wasn't the most eventful card, to be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm hoping 303 kind of proves you wrong. But hey, it was a decent night. Favorites won almost overall. We had a few unders that made it fun, but overall, I would say it was a mid to upper mid-range card in terms of ratings. Not too many things memorable other than maybe the main event. But you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know I probably skipped over some things. We had a lot of decisions in the prelims. Jolton Almeida did come back and strangle the hell out of Rovanov, so that was good. The guy's never been lost by his submission before, so that was impressive. So he's definitely on the comeback. So we'll see what happens from there. But you guys let me know your opinions. I will see you all later, and you guys have a good one.